Good morning, guys. So something happened yesterday that I wanted to talk about. Actually, it happened Friday night at about 8:30 at night, mind you. Had a notification on, it would have actually been this post here that we posted back January 11th on our Facebook business page concerning air sealing around our exterior penetrations and how over the last year, we worked with two new subcontractors on two different house builds, mind you. One was electrical contractor, the other was an electrical HVAC and plumbing contractor. So they were new for us. And on this post, we addressed that it can be a challenge working with new subs, and I don't want to say train them, but get them up to date on our methods, our building practices, steps that we take as a builder to provide the best possible house for our client, which as a builder that's your end goal, providing the best possible house that you can for your client, making it affordable, functional, and lasting for many years to come. So when I made that post, I had no intentions of calling anybody out on it, and I did not call anybody out on it. Well, the sub that we dealt with on the most recent build, he's a very nice guy. His guys are very nice, but we never worked with him before. And some of his practices, they don't align with what we do. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. I mean that as he's unfamiliar with it. He's not used to it. A lot of the builders in the area that he works with, they don't do that. So with us, as a lot of you know, we use zip sheeting. And with zip sheeting, number one, 30-year warranty on it when installed properly. Now, when I say installed properly, flashed, taped, rolled, your penetration sealed, your wires sealed. Sometimes we go a little excessive with some stuff, but at the end of the day, we make sure that water can't get in and air can't get in. That 30-year warranty means a lot to us right there. So, and this whole thing isn't to knock, after talking to my brother-in-law yesterday, we don't knock house wrap. We don't knock Tyvek, Kimberly Clark Blockit, Typar. We don't want to knock any of that stuff because yes, it all works, but is it all necessarily installed properly? No. I've seen zip sheeting installed improperly. I've seen WeatherLogic installed improperly. As anything in the building industry, it can be installed improperly. So let's go to so he found our page, and him and I butted heads a lot during the project. Sometimes it was my fault, sometimes it was his fault, but we're not going to go into that. So he got to our page. We finished the job Friday afternoon. We pulled out. He was still finishing a few things, just some trim out items. Not a big deal. He found our page 8:30 at night on a Friday. He commented and said, and I since have deleted and blocked him from the page because I don't need that mess on my hands. He commented and said, "See, what you're saying is 99.9% of contractors are doing it wrong. What you've created is a problem for me that I can't come back and replace dryer vents, HRV pipes, and any exterior penetrations. That I've created a mess by proper air sealing techniques." Okay, so a couple things here. I get his point. Yes, they have stuff on the market. They make pipe boots for stuff, but they are expensive. I am not going to buy pipe boots for this kind of stuff. So those pipe boots are nice. They're sidewall flashings that you can put on. This pipe can be serviced. I'm not buying them because they're expensive. I'm not paying $10 to $20 for a pipe boot when I can do this with liquid flash or I can do this with stretch tape. So was I saying 99.9% of builders do it wrong? No, I didn't. What I said, and what I mean by this, when I say that, let me find it here, that, you can't look at the exterior cladding as a sealed item. Lap siding isn't fully closed to air and water, that, pipe penetrations have to be sealed, getting them to do it, getting your HVAC subs to run their pipes first so you can seal it is important. Nowhere in here did I say you're doing it wrong. Nowhere did I say that, Joe the carpenter up the road is doing it wrong. But I will go back to when I first started residential construction installing house wrap. on our new builds, when I worked for somebody, we installed it wrong. Nothing got sealed. Nobody sealed anything properly. Yes, we shingle affected it, essentially, you start with your lowest run and work up overlapping from there. Yes, that's correct. We did our windows properly. That was one of the things. But pipe penetrations. When doing house wrap with pipe penetrations, it's super important to detail those properly. So when I say detail those properly, I don't mean cut your hole in your house wrap, run your pipe through, slap a little caulk on there, call it good. No. Run your pipe through, seal that penetration at the OSB, install your house wrap, and when you install that house wrap, let's take Tyvek for an instance. Tyvek makes flex tape that go around those pipe penetrations. It is a flexible tape that can go all the way around that penetration and tape to your WRB on your wall and tapes to the pipe. So I don't see guys around here doing that. Now, mind you, we're in northern Iowa. We have about 2 other builders that use Zip and LP Weather Logic. They are awesome builders. They're building $1 to $2 million houses. They're rock stars. One of those builders is up in this HVAC, plumbing, and electrical subs neck of the woods. He doesn't work for them, and there's obviously a reason he doesn't work for them. So with us, since we don't use house wrap, with the exception of Benjamin Obdike, but that's a whole nother topic for another day, with us using an integrated WRB into our sheeting, this is how we seal this. Now, yeah, we can use stretch tape around this. I didn't have any stretch tape, and I kind of prefer liquid flash around this. It's a little easier to work with. Stretch tape's kind of a bear to a certain point, but I like liquid flash on these penetrations. These penetrations, these are not supposed to be serviceable. Why are you needing to pull these out? This should never have to be replaced. Your your disc receptacle box, that should not have to be replaced. Your concentrics for your furnace, why does that need to be replaced? Unless that is a major problem, like a storm that has broken those pipes, you're dealing with a whole nother insurance can of worms. That does not need to be replaced. Your dryer vent is a metal dryer vent. Why do you need to be able to service that dryer vent and remove it? You should not need to if you're doing your job properly. The same with an ERV. We didn't seal the covers on. We sealed the flange that goes on first, connected to the flexible pipe that goes to the HRV or ERV. That cover snaps off and you can get full access to the end of that. There is no reason that needs to be serviceable. I don't understand his point. He makes 0 sense whatsoever. And for you to come onto my page and complain because you don't like me is completely childish. Especially when him and I went into a screaming match one day about tracking mud inside of a house. And then you come onto my page and you complain about how we seal our houses up. You're not doing the customer any good by that. Especially when we have a blower door test done and our blower door guy explains to you that your HRV isn't set up properly, that you need to calibrate it in order to work with the house. If that upsets you, so then that same day when he tells you that, if that upsets you and you decide to come to our social media page and start complaining about the way we do stuff, grow up. Seriously, you need to grow up. So, why do we do this? Why do we seal these pipes up? Well, let's go to these 2 photos. So this was on a house we built a few years ago. So this house was our second zip sheeting house, and we did the main floor first, and then the customer finished off the basement afterwards. Now, we were involved with this, not so much with the HVAC and plumbing portion of it. They had them come back and do that when we weren't there. So right above here, so it's actually probably right here, there is a bathroom. There's a closet right here. There's a bathtub that sits right here. The homeowner complained about the bedroom over here in the closet and this bathroom right here being about 10 degrees colder, and even more, 10, 15 degrees colder in the wintertime. We checked with the thermal camera windows. We checked to see if we had any issues with those, made sure they were sealed, made sure they were tight, make sure nothing was leaking on the ceiling. We just could not find it. So what we did was we had our blower door guy come back and we pressurized the house, because this house we did not blower door. It was opted not to. Now seeing it, which it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because these 3 actually were not installed. That's for the basement, and that's for a dryer, that's for a vent fan. Those were not installed at the time. So that was installed. that was installed. So those were installed, and that was already installed. Those were cut through prior to siding, and those were liquid flashed and liquid flashed all the way around, super tight. These 3 penetrations were not tight. So with that being said, we had him blower door the house, and we did find all along the floor area right here, it's like 10 feet, 10, 12 feet right here, cold air coming in. Now, keep in mind, when you install a fiberglass or acrylic tub, it's hollow underneath with a giant gaping hole cut for your plumbing fixtures to go through. Your waste, your overflow, your P-trap, your vent pipe to go up, massive hole underneath that bathtub cut in. Plus a giant chase on this side to pack out on each side of the tub to make it fit the space, because the bathroom was wider than 5 feet there. So we had a 5-foot tub, you got to fill that space somehow. So you have these massive cavities that a little bit of air that can get in is going to cause you a lot of problems. So let's focus on this right one then. So we have 3 vents, 3 pipes, 1 pipe, 2 vents. We're guessing those are the culprit. So let's go to this image over here. So using a pen, so we removed the siding here, we cut around it. These were surface mounted, mind you. When we undid the screws holding these on and we pulled this back, there was no silicone or no sealant whatsoever behind these vents. So these 2 vents had no sealant whatsoever. We pulled those right out of the wall. If you look at this massive hole all the way around this, there is a 1/4 to 3/8 hole around this. So when we did our blower door, we had him reverse the pressure in the house. Now pretend this is a siding board. We watched the hot air blow out underneath this run of siding right in this area. You could see when the house was pressurized in reverse where we were getting our air leakage at. So we knew to target these 3 spots. So when we pulled this siding off and removed this vent, we had a massive air leakage on not 1, not 2, but 3 spots. I was able to move all 3 of these pipes. So 3 small penetrations. Now, mind you, these are 3 minor areas to cause such a massive air leakage. And as our blower door guy had explained, the reason for this is because with the rest of the house sealed up the way that it was, a minor air leakage is going to seem major with something like this, which is a good thing that our houses are sealed up the way they are, because minor, even though this doesn't seem bad, is going to cause a problem. Now, what happens if this cladding fails? If we have a leak somewhere up above, let's say the window that's above this on the bathtub, that's up here, let's say that window leaks and runs down. That water is going right through that pipe, right into the house. Now, if these pipes were air sealed properly to begin with, and they were installed prior, now we had no idea that this was going to be a location for these mechanicals to come out at the time. Hindsight, we didn't know that. But this siding should have been removed. We should have been called. We should have removed the siding to allow them to bring these out so this could have been properly flashed. Now, we pulled these, we cut everything back in order to put this board on, which it looks actually really nice. You know, this is actually how we do it if mechanicals are all boxed out like this, but we had more of an open run here. But if we had all of these items on this wall at the same time, we would have boxed this with a trim board, because then that trim board can be removed very easily. We would put trim screws in, paint them, we would put white trim screws in, paint them. That way, if this board ever needs to be removed to get to anything here, it can be removed very easily. So these all got put back on, liquid flashed, sealed up tight to the wall, board went over the top of them where they're flashed properly. So going back to his comment of, you've made it impossible for me to service any of these in the future. No, I've made it tight so the customer doesn't have to worry about this. They don't have to worry about air leakage in their floor joist space, filling problems all over the house, making that bathtub cold, making their bedroom cold, bringing in cold air drafts. You know, we don't do this and seal these things up for our own benefit. We seal these up for the customer's benefit. This is for our customer to have a warm, comfortable, climate-controlled home in the wintertime and a cool, comfortable home in the summertime. This is for our customer. This gives them 30 years of warranty on sheeting plus a comfortable house that gets a very good blower door score. So when we blower doored our home, which I didn't want to talk about this until later, this was our best score ever. We were way under 1 on a blower door, when the score in the state of Iowa is a requirement of 4 or lower. So with us getting below a 1, which I'll talk about that in another video, that's amazing for us. We cut our last blower door score in half because we address issues like this. We don't want water running in there. We don't want air leakage in these. These are not supposed to be serviceable. Don't come on my page and complain about the way that we build stuff because you don't understand. I tried to explain this to you. I tried to explain our process to you. So when I pushed you to get these penetrations through prior to siting, there's a reason, because I didn't want this issue to happen. And for me to get a phone call 2 years later complaining about cold air in their master bedroom and their master bathroom. I don't want these issues. This is why I don't deal with subs that we don't work with normally. And if we don't work with them normally, you have to be receptive of the builder and how we build. You have to be receptive of our process, just like you have a process. I'm not going to demand you to do this first or that first, or require this or require that. I stay in my lane. But when I push you to get stuff through prior to cladding, there's a reason. There is a major reason why I want these items done and detailed prior to that. That's my rant for the day. Have a good Sunday. Have a great week. See you all at IBS in 1 week. Thanks, guys.